So, hello and welcome to another episode of the Turn 5 podcast. It's me and Ben this week to go through all of the action from the Japanese Grand Prix weekend and to then bring you our predictions, at least. And I think with Nia's put hers in. Mel and
Yes,
Chris
yeah.
haven't yet. We'll bring you
No.
as many predictions as we have before the Bahrain Grand Prix this weekend as we move into the middle stint of our first triple header of the season. Well, let's kick it off, Ben. Free practice. I think we can sort of
Yeah.
largely ignore free practice 1. Not a lot happened in that, but it all kicked off in free practice 2, starting quite early on with Jack Doohan. What do you make of that?
Nice DRS button.
So, from what I've heard, it works on the simulator that Alpine have.
Right.
Why would it? You've severely reduced the amount of rear load that you have by opening the DRS, and then you're throwing it into a corner. You're going to need the downforce, even if you aren't braking, because there's often what's described as aero braking or air braking, which is where you don't brake, you just come off the accelerator and the car will slow down because of the aero. But even when you don't take your foot off the gas, when you turn the car, it will slow an extent due to the aero. I guess he lives and he learns. Apparently, it's reported that crash will cost about $1.5 million.
Oh.
It's a bit spenny, and probably not the sort of mistake you want to keep making when you've got Franco Colapinto lurking over your shoulder. So, yeah, way to make an impact. Not with the barriers next time, maybe. And then we had like another 4 red flags for grass fires.
That's always fun.
Yeah, so this is now, the second time in 2 years that we've had free practice sessions, or just sessions generally, interrupted by grass fires. Last year, of course, it was in China.
Putting gravel traps.
I mean, that is an option. My alternative would be... it's quite simple, really. If you know you've had dry weather for a long time, the 3 to 4 days before the Grand Prix weekend starts, so from the Monday of that week, say, you go out and you water the grass.
Yeah.
And you do
gardener.
You do it twice daily. You go out in the morning and then you go out in the early afternoon and you water it. And then in those 3 to 4 days, by watering it twice, you've saturated the soil enough. The grass actually recovers in that sort of short time frame. Grass doesn't need long. We see it all the time in Britain. We get all those dry summers, everything goes brown, and then fucking one rainstorm and everything's bright green again. So 3 to 4 days of consistent watering. Doesn't even have to be a lot of water. It just has to be a bit of a sprinkle just to get it going. And you'd nullify this because the grass is healthy, so it's not dry and it won't catch. The ground isn't dry. It's an easy solve. So
it shows how shit this race has been. The fact we're talking about watering grass.
Look, I feel like it needs to be mentioned because, like, otherwise it will just get swept under the rug again. But
get a watering can.
Especially with the world going the way it is in terms of global warming and all this, that, and the other, it's probably something we're going to see more often in terms of just dry grass on the outside of circuits. So I don't really care if the rest of the year it's dry or whatever, but just for a week, just water it.
The rest of the year, fires everywhere.
The rest of the year, it's fine. It's not interrupting a Grand Prix session, but for that week, just water it. it's not that hard, is it? Really?
Get some of Bernie's sprinklers.
Exactly. That did come to mind. He was onto something, you know.
Yeah.
So
He was always 15 years ahead,
Yeah.
wasn't he, Bernie?
including on his taxes.
Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously free practice 2 is normally the session that teams do their long runs in, so that was very interrupted. So a lot of data was missing. And we went to free practice 3. I didn't watch that. I haven't even watched the highlights of that. I was asleep.
No idea what happened.
Don't care. We went into quali. I woke up and I watched quali. It was okay. I suppose the biggest talking point, besides pole position, Carlos. It's a slam dunk penalty. Like, there's no real defending it.
Not seeing it.
Okay, so
Who did he impede?
Hamilton. So Carlos finished his lap with about 5 or 6 seconds left on the clock, and then Hamilton started his lap with like 2 or 3 seconds left on the clock. So as Carlos just sort of bimbles round turn 1, Hamilton's absolutely honing it and gets has to take avoiding action basically and go off the circuit. So
nice.
it was a dumb one. Hamilton was obviously going to be the last car over the line. The communication between the team just needed to be a bit better there to let Carlos know that there was a car behind. Because I think he probably thought, given how little time was left on the clock, that he'd be the last car across the line.
Yeah.
But Hamilton wasn't actually that far behind him. So, yeah, just a bit of better communication with the team, and they could have avoided a 3-place grid penalty. And then obviously Max Verstappen wrung the absolute neck out of the white Red Bull. The white bull, I guess. And put it on pole. I think it's fair to say that pretty much nobody saw that coming. I mean, Mel predicted it, apparently, so go Mel, I guess, but...
One of the few people, maybe.
Yeah. But equally, she put Alonso as 3rd on the podium, so how much do we trust Mel's predictions?
Sometimes it's mental, but it's mental gone genius.
Yeah, true. Last week in particular, with the fucking perfectly predict podium with Russell on it. Who'd have thought? Yeah, it was an interesting one. Norris said he was happy with his lap. There wasn't much in it, in the grand scheme of things. Thousands. Well, hundreds, but, you know. It was very close. But equally...
1200s.
That is the way it goes, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a good lap.
What's happened.
It's a very good lap from Max.
It's a fucking great lap.
Yeah. I mean, Yuki was unlucky, in a way, I think, to get knocked out in quali where he was. He had a moment down in turn 2, which a lot of other people had as well, but he just didn't have enough time to... I think he did have enough time to get around and have another go, but I just think he'd probably taken the best out of his tyres at that point. So, it was unfortunate, especially considering like who else we saw have a moment down at turn 2. Like, it wasn't uncommon. We saw Piastri have a moment at turn 2. I'm trying to think who else we had. There was a couple of other drivers that were sort of... I think it was the wind down at that corner that sort of caught everyone out a bit. So, but other than that, Yuki looked reasonably okay in the car. Apparently he was running more downforce than Max was on his, so Yuki had more, I guess, stability in the car, whereas Max had higher top-end speed with less aero on it. And you could see it in the angle of the rear wing that was on Yuki's car. It was much bigger. So I'll be interested to see if that continues in Bahrain. If Yuki runs like a different setup, or if, you know, they'll start to
You'd
run something
expect
more
them to.
similar. But equally,
It's
Bahrain is one of those ones where you need that top speed.
Yeah.
Because you will be
It's more
vulnerable
power
down.
happy than-
Yeah. With the home straight into turn 1 and then the second DRS section straight away up into turn 4, speed is quite important. And we see it quite a lot in Bahrain that teams have a very quick sectors 1 and 3 or a quick sector 2, and that's how you tell who's gone for straight line speed over aero. Because sector 2 is all of the technical shit in the middle of the circuit.
Yeah.
Sector 3 is basically just the last straight before the last corner, and sector 1 is up until the end of the second DRS section at the top of turn 5. All of the cornering through turn 8 at the hairpin, the awkward downhill left-hander turn 10, the back straight with the DRS on, and then turn 11 and 12, all of that is sector 2, and that's your aero loaded section. So we'll be able to see basically on sector times, won't we? If Yuki's quicker than Max in sector 2, then we know. But it'll be interesting.
I'd still.
It's also really hard to see because, like, obviously Lawson got the preseason testing in the Red Bull, and Yuki hasn't, so he's having to pick this up really quickly.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing. Everyone's like, "Oh, he's only had 2 races." We had a day and a half in the car as well, you know. True. Yuki's now come in and had 2 and a bit hours of practice, and then had to go and qualify. So, yeah, it's gonna be tricky. But equally, he made it to Q2 on his first go, which is more than Lawson ever managed.
If he gets to Q3, he's done his job.
Yeah, if he makes it into the top 10, that is a marked improvement upon his predecessor.
And the person before that as well.
Both his predecessors.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. I hope he does. I really want to see him succeed in that car.
Yeah, I just don't want to see him win every race. Well, actually, he can win one.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if he won a couple, but, you know.
Just don't take the championship.
Yeah. So, right. Shall we cover off our prediction results? Wasn't a great week.
Through the shit race that was Suzuka.
I mean,
Verstappen won.
The top 6 finished as they started. There we go. I think that about covers it.
That covers the race.
Yeah, Lance Stroll started last, finished last, which is wild, by the way. I'm sorry, how the fuck is a car that Fernando Alonso is fighting in the midfield not catching up to the back of the pack? He was in clear air and he wasn't making gains onto the back of fucking Bortoletto in a Sauber.
Just in Stroll's defense, he does have 10 points and Alonso has 0. So
Alonso had brake failure in China.
Yeah, and he also put it in the wall at Australia.
Yeah.
So you don't see Lance Stroll doing that, do you? You see him getting lapped at Suzuka.
I'm sorry, are you a Stroll glazer right now?
Yeah, I'm just backing it. He's done all right this season. He's had one rotter, but now it's time to.
I just find it interesting that the rotter he's had is at the drivers' circuit.
Yeah,
you know,
I didn't think of that.
Just saying, this is one that everyone says it's a drivers' circuit, and he's fucked
that's
it.
the point actually. Speaking of Suzuka and that, Gilles Villeneuve on commentary. Can we just sack that off as well?
What, Jacques?
Yeah,
it's not Gilles, mate.
I don't want. Gilles gone. Yeah,
Gilles gone.
Sorry.
This is Jacques.
Jacques Villeneuve.
He wasn't that great, was he?
No. It's nothing.
But I will prefer him to Danica Patrick Any
It's true.
day.
But there's also still
At least he won a world championship.
there's still better people than him at the Sky Sports.
Jensen Button.
Like I'd just rather him and Crofty and Anthony Davidson. That's sound. That's
I'd
fine,
rather Crofty on his own.
Yeah.
Like, just let him go. Let him do his thing. If you need somebody else there, hit me up. Alternatively, if Martin Brundle's a bit busy, have you tried his son? He sounds the fucking same.
Yeah. Just don't say anything.
Alternatively, there were no support races there this week. Get Alex Jakes involved.
Having Martin and Alex Brundle's like Diet Coke and full fat.
Oh, God. Honestly, I'd love to see a race where Crofty and Alex Jakes commentated together. I think that'd be quite good.
Yeah, I feel like
the battle of the commentators.
Yeah, I feel like Crofty would take the perch as being the main.
Well, yeah, because he's been there too long, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Or is Alex busy with F1's coverage commentary? Is he on that? Is he on F1 TV?
Yeah, because they take Channel 4's commentary, don't they? Now, I think.
I honestly don't know. It's not the same. There's no Eddie Jordan.
It's either that or Channel 4 take F1 TV's commentary, which is probably more likely.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I thought Channel 4 had their own team, to be honest. It's Webber and Coulthard, isn't it?
I don't know if that's...
I can't remember what they do anymore.
The presenters and analysis.
Because there was always when Hamilton locked up in Baku when he basically threw it was in going mental in the com box. Yeah. So I don't know. Anyway, the race was shit. Nothing happened. Lando
get rid of Suzuka.
Lando
Lando
cut some grass. The problem was that the fact that the hard tyre was faster than the medium.
McLaren do a different strategy.
Oh god, okay, yeah, actually, yes, right. We've got two cars at the front. We can utilise that. Proceeds to put both on the same fucking strategy.
Not learning from last year's mistake.
If you've pit Oscar and you've seen that the undercut isn't actually that strong, and then Max comes in, fucking leave Lando out. Just let him run in the clear air.
Like, you think that's what they done at Spain, Imola?
Just let him do it.
Lando out. Yeah.
But no, box, follow him in. You'll have exactly the same tyre age as him. There'll be no fucking difference. You'll be sat behind him ruining your tyres for the rest of the fucking race. Nice. Does this, again, highlight a certain naivety in the McLaren strategy team? We've seen it before, particularly Hungary last year, where they fucking bazookaed themselves in the foot and managed to invert their own drivers without intention. The problem, like, they're fighting for race wins and championships now, but they are not approaching it as such. If you've got two drivers at the front, which is something that in recent years they've not been used to, you need to be able to utilise the fact that you've got two drivers to force the other driver at the front to do something else. So Oscar pits, that essentially forces Max's hand to have to pit.
Yeah.
So then leave Lando out after that to go long. Because he's then in the clean air, he's not destroying his tyres any more than before because he was in the dirty air behind Max. Let him go and run in clear air, put in some good lap times, and just at least see. Even if it doesn't work off and he slots back in exactly where he was, you've not lost anything.
No.
Whatever happened to fucking nothing gained, nothing ventured? Like, come on, man. Throw the dice. You've got a quick enough
Take a
car.
risk.
It's not like you're a team that is at the bottom of the top 10 fighting for a point that might make the difference in the championship, and that risk, that chance determines whether or not you get a point. This is just what fucking step of the podium you're on. And you're trying to go forward, but at the minute all they're doing is trying to maintain the fucking status quo.
Yeah.
They need to have a more ruthless mentality of, we want to win by any means.
Yeah. That's what Red Bull have over them.
When Red Bull had two drivers at the front, but they weren't the car at the front, they would utilise split strategies. When Mercedes had two drivers at the front, but they weren't the car at the front, they would utilise split strategies. McLaren just haven't.
McLaren utilise the same strategy.
It's honestly baffling. But again, does it come down to the fact that the hard tyre was just faster than the medium?
Yeah, but even then, you're still...
Because that sort of shoehorned everyone into the same strategy.
Say they pit Lando first to get the undercut on Verstappen.
Yeah.
And then Verstappen pits and Piastri stays out. By the time Piastri catches back up to Lando, say was 5 seconds and now it's 1. You just say, Lando, can you move over? Try Piastri, get at Verstappen. If not, have the place back.
Yeah, like they did with Hamilton and Bottas did it, you know?
Yeah.
In Hungary. They were like, okay, let me have a go at him. Okay, I didn't get him. Okay, have the place back.
Well, nice.
It's bizarre. But
it seems like it's like, oh, well, you can't overtake. This would do us.
Yeah, they just settled. They settled for second and third. Which, in the grand scheme of things, yes, fine. That's a good points haul. You're ahead in the championship by a long way. We're on 111 points as a team now. And in terms of like the constructors, cool, great, you're daylight. But the drivers want to win. They're not here to finish. Max says it. He says, I'm not here to finish second.
It's only 1 point behind. Yeah.
Yeah. It's boggling. It's like they're doing they have their sights on the long run, but it's at the risk of the short term. Think about how
many points as you can when you have the best car.
Exactly.
Look at
Verstappen last year, 7 of the first 10.
Yeah.
7 of the first 10 is nuts. Admittedly, one of those was a reliability issue. Wait, wasn't that round 3 as well?
Yeah.
Lando to win 7 of the first 10? No, because Oscar's won one already. Fuck's sake. McLaren to win 7 of the first 10. Look, it's something they've got to get on top of. The next couple of races will be challenging because the McLaren has been notoriously not as good in higher temperatures.
Yeah.
But equally, testing went quite well, so, you know.
Yeah.
Look, they've got plenty of data on Bahrain. So.
The car's never been amazing at Bahrain.
No.
So.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a year that puts the strategy team to the test more than anything else. And because we've seen in the past, McLaren's in-season development strong, probably one of the best in the whole sport. their through season development has been ridiculous. They took a tractor at Bahrain to podiums by Austria. Like, what other team is doing that? They're not. But now they're at the front. They've got to still do that and keep that.
Yeah.
But equally, they've got to make sure they make the choices that make them win. You have to take advantage of the fact that you've got the advantage.
Like in Australia.
So, yeah. Mad.
Take a risk, but don't be stupid.
Yeah, like, leaving Lando out for 5 laps wasn't going to be that detrimental, was it? His pace was still strong. If you see after a lap, he's not able to maintain the necessary
He
pace.
loses like 2 seconds on a lap. Yeah, fine. Box.
Yeah, you know, you've only lost a position at that point. And it's to your teammate. What'd he do? You know? But if he's going out and he's doing good lap times, just fucking leave him. That was almost very Scouse that. Just fucking leave him.
Fucking leave him.
Fucking leave him alone. It wouldn't have been any loss, you know? Yeah. I don't know. The mind boggles, but still. I think what maybe what they were concerned of was gaps, because obviously the lower field was still sort of, they hadn't really pit, and they were pitting them into really small windows. So I don't know if the worry was that if they left him out and he did make ground, that the window that they boxed him into wouldn't be there.
Maybe.
But we'll see. I wish McLaren did videos like James Vowles does, where they fucking justify their reasons on everything. Have you seen James Vowles' videos? It's brilliant.
No.
I love him. He puts out videos on social media after a race weekend, like if things have gone wrong or whatever, to like explain it and break it down and give like all the reasoning behind everything that happened. Phenomenal. I love the transparency. It is amazing. So James Vowles, 10 out of 10. Team manager of the decade, easy. So I think they do it on I think they put them on their Instagram. So right, let's do results. Now that we've covered off my my rant, the first one of the year. What was it? The second one after dry grass. This is my rant episode. Right, podium predictions. Me and Chris came last. Nia and Sonia came first. Me and Chris got 2 points. Ben and Mel got 3 points. Nia and Sonia got 4 points. High scoring week this week.
Brilliant.
Everyone was shafted by the fact that we all put Lando Norris to win and Max won.
No. Who's the jinx?
What? Who got
Chris.
worse? Yeah, it's always Chris, isn't it?
Chris the jinx. Chris's fault.
But Mel put him on pole and then put him to finish second, so I think that was the jinx. Anyway, that leaves the standings as follows. Nia is on 5. Myself and Chris are on 8. Ben is on 12. Sonia is on 13. And Mel is on 19. Bold predictions. Ben, you said that Lawson would beat Yuki in the race. He didn't.
Should have said qualifying.
Yeah. Chris said Lawson makes it to Q2. He did. Mel said Lawson knocks Yuki out of qualifying. Didn't. Nia said no improvement from Tsunoda in regards to his positions. So I've sort of given a
It's a load of bollocks.
Yeah.
Not a bold prediction.
Another unexpected
Yeah.
And I put Yuki in Q3, which didn't come true. Gutted. Maybe this week.
Yeah. 2 Red Bulls in Q3.
Yes. Lapdown Showdown. I was the closest this week, purely because my lap was the highest of anyone that anyone put. So I put Lawson. Everyone put incorrect drivers. It was actually Lance Stroll. He was first lapped on 46, but I said 38, and everyone got one lap down. So it wasn't very exciting in that regard. Much like the race. Oh, Bahrain. Actually, before we get on to Bahrain, F1 Academy was testing in Saudi Arabia this week, and Nina Gaideman had a massive shunt of some description. Details are sparse, but the F1 Academy posted that there was an incident on the circuit, and that the car wouldn't be running in the final day of testing due to damage sustained, but that Nina had stayed in hospital overnight for precautionary checks and was cleared the following morning. So, all good from there. Glad that everyone's okay. Unfortunate that she's missing out on a whole day's worth of testing, though. So, hopefully she can bounce back from that one when we join them next week in Saudi Arabia. Before then, we have Bahrain to cover. So, Ben, pole position.
Max Verstappen.
Oh! What's Nia put?
Has put Max Verstappen.
Oh, I've put Lando Norris.
Nice.
And obviously we'll update this with everyone else's. Chris said, I'll send them tomorrow because he's an absolute melt. And I know I can insult him all I like on this because I know he won't listen.
True.
Right, what's Nia put for the podium then?
Verstappen, Norris, Russell.
Oh, no Piastri anywhere to be seen. What are you going for?
I'm saying Verstappen, Piastri, Norris.
Oh, okay. And I've said Norris, Verstappen, Piastri. It's going to split the McLarens. Bold predictions. I have said that Lawson and Tsunoda will share the same grid row again.
Nice. It's a good one.
Which I feel like is precise enough because I haven't said that they'll finish next to each other in qualifying. It has to be the same row.
Bro.
So I'm praying that if they do end up on the opposite sides of the grid, somebody ahead of them takes an engine penalty and it bumps them both up.
Yeah.
Praying. What have you got?
So Nia has put no points Piastri.
Oh my
Some
god.
great alliteration.
Pointless Piastri.
Yeah.
And you've gone for?
Want to say Carlos Sainz points. I don't know if that's acceptable or not.
I don't think he's
only
a
scored
couple.
one.
Yeah.
He scored one all season.
We'll allow it. Oh, I've just got Sonia's in. Well, I say that. I've got Sonia's pole position prediction. There we go. There's the podium. So Sonia has gone for Piastri on pole and a podium of Piastri, Norris, Verstappen.
There is a thing this season that every person that started on pole has them went on to win the race.
Have they?
Yeah.
Phenomenal. That's a good stat. Let's see how long that lasts. Max Verstappen spears Norris off.
Classic lap one Lando. He's back.
Yes. Right, lap down showdown. There's 57 laps of the Bahrain Grand Prix.
Okay. Nia has said Jack Doohan on lap 24.
Fucking hell, that's not long
One
into
lap
it, is it?
down.
It's nearly Old Faithful, that is. Fucking hell.
He goes 24 laps, poor bloke. He's not on the pace. And then he gets on it.
Yeah, then he maintains it for the following 33.
I'm gonna.
Oh,
You go.
I've got back on my hate watch. It's Esteban
Nice.
Ocon,
That's
but it's lap 48 I've gone for, and 1 lap down.
right. I'm joining Nia. I'm Jack doing. I'm saying 1 lap down on lap 31.
31. Okay. Wow. What is he doing? Let's see what the others say when they get theirs. Yeah, spearing off because he's not closed his DRS.
Not close the DRS into T1.
I'll tell you what, he's not going to fucking forget that again, is he?
I'll take the Johnny Herbert line.
Right. And that about wraps it up for this week. We'll, of course, bring you any news that happens between now and next week, i.e. when it comes out tomorrow, on next week's episode. Until then, thank you for listening and or watching. And goodbye.
Whoa.
Oh!
Proposal to bring back V10 engine set to be rejected.
Yeah, I was going to wait until it was like actually rejected before I brought it up, but yeah, we're not going to get the V10s back.
Stupid sport.
Bye.
Bye.